Well, good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Five Flags Speedway for tonight's running of the Golf Coast Showdown for the ZooFab Garage Street Stock Series. It is Upside Al in the booth alongside my good friend Kelly Dahl as we get ready to bring you tonight's racing action and what is going to be a fun race, 200 laps on tap. A lot of information to go over here before qualifying, and we want to thank ZooFab Garage for being the title sponsor of the ZooFab Garage Street Stock Series. And ZooFab Garage is your one-stop shop fabrication on power for your performance vehicle, track car, or street car. You can find them on Facebook. Contact them and start your next project today. Kelly's Custom Engravings. Locally owned and operated in North Carolina, specializing in custom engraving of wood, leather, glass, acrylic, and many more materials. Be sure to like and follow their Facebook page to find all their amazing products and place your order today. RC2 Promotions is a promotion company for your iRacing special events. You can contact them at facebook.com RC2RP. Wizards Designs, whether you're in the market for a new logo, are you a streamer? Well, Wizards Designs can help you. They have making logos and signage for yourself and streamers. Signs with LED lighting, laser cut wood, and changing colors. Also making bean bag boards, flag designs, and so much more. Check them out on Facebook for all their projects. J&G Hardwood Flooring. Locally owned by Josh and Brandon Klasinski. They have over 35 years of experience, and they can help you with all of your flooring needs from new construction to remodels or even small repairs. For estimates and scheduling, call 615-904-2218. And what we're getting ready to watch right now is the Dulaweiser Fast Time Award. Matt Dula is the proud owner of Dulaweiser, located in Columbus, Ohio. Cold brews, good times, political conversations, and of course the drink of choice at the races. Dulaweiser is the official drink of the NSRL. Dulaweiser asks all drivers to please drink responsibly. And right now, Kelly, we are in that qualifying session. And right now, a name that we haven't seen on the racetrack, the 15 of Matt Cook here, top of the board. But unfortunately, we'll have to serve that EOL penalty from a few races ago. Right now, you take a look at where your favorite drivers are going to be populating up on the screen. Is Chad McLeod comes across the line in that 93. He's going to go 10th quick right now as Ryan Johnson gets up to speed off turn number 4.
And I believe we have already broken our track record here for the street stocks at this event. The previous record was a 17.992 set by Dante Curtis, and we are already down to a 17.839. Shared between Matt Cook and Dustin Shepard. Both those drivers both putting up an 8.39, so it has gone down to a 4th digit, which we do not have displayed just yet, but there are still a few fast drivers left to go, namely Bryan Hacker, Ryan Johnson, who has just taken over our points lead, and I believe Johnson is actually out on the racetrack right now, just about to finish his first lap. We'll see what that time is going to come up. Actually, I believe he may have clipped the wall or something. That first lap will not count, and that is going to be huge because the first lap is the fast lap here with these colder tires. Yeah. So now Ryan Johnson coming off of turn 4. What is he going to get?
Off of turn number 4, Ryan Johnson comes across the line. He's going to go 7th quick, Kelly. 7th quick with a 17.96, and we got a few studs left to go here. We got Bryan Hacker, who's rolling off of the race, off of pit road right now with his Austin Designs number 2 car. He comes in tonight's point standing sitting just 12 points out of there. As we take a look at your current point standings, they shook up a little bit, as you were mentioning. Ryan Johnson, your current high points man, but look at how tight that is, Kelly. Only 62 points separating your top 10.
Yeah, and this is going to be shaken up even more after tonight because this is the halfway point of the season. This is race 7 of 13. And this is the second of our 3 showdown events as Bryan Hacker comes across the line here. See what he gets. 18.066. I saw him sliding around a lot. So a couple of our fast drivers pushing it a little too hard and making mistakes here in qualifying. But as mentioned, this is the halfway point of the season. So after tonight, we will start factoring in the drop weeks. So the point standings will change quite a bit. we'll kind of get a better, more clear view of what our points championship is going to look like coming into these last few races of the season.
Yeah, Bryan Hacker sliding into that 13th spot, so not the qualifying effort out of the 2 car. Now Scott Austin in that finish line number 5 out onto the racetrack. He's trying to set a fast time here as he takes lap number 1. Austin going to go 7th quick with a 17.94. So Kelly, a couple fast drivers still left to go. We got Brian Bianchi and Matt Allen out there that have not ran a time yet. Scott Austin goes off for lap number 2, and it is just a hair slower. So Austin going to sit in that 7th spot right now currently as we switch our we'll switch over here to see where our lap times really looking at 17.839, and I don't have that 4th marker available for us, Kelly, as Matt Cook and Dustin Shepard sit at the top of that scoring pylon.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not going to really count for Matt Cook as he is going to have to take a EOL, so that's going to send him to the back of the field. But watch for that 15 car. It seems like he has got some speed there. We'll see if he's going to be able to charge up through the field as we are going to be racing underneath the lights here tonight.
Yeah, and that means right now qualifying, everybody going to make qualifying, so no LCQ here this afternoon. That means we're going to slide right into our RC2 Promotions Top 8 redraw, where your top 8 drivers will get to pick out their starting positions by a random draw. This is my favorite part of the night, by the way, Kelly. I just want you to know.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. Really shakes up the field and allows us to have some fun with the drivers, kind of letting them know where they're going to be starting here tonight. But we're just going to have to get these drivers here together all lined up.
Yeah.
We also have to keep an eye on which of these drivers will be going to the back. There are 2 in the top 8 that will be going to the back of the field. Matt Cook for getting an EOL for a incident point violation at Langley. And Gary Eschen will also be going to the back due to winning last week.
So we'll start things off, Kelly, as you start to wrangle the cats down there. We'll start off with a driver that set fast time here with a new track record, or we'll say a shared track record. We'll pull up in here to the booth, the number 89 of Dustin Shepard, setting a new track record here tonight. You and Matt Cook both tying for that top spot. You get to be the first one to draw here tonight, as Cook has to serve that EOL penalty from a little bit earlier this season. Dustin, and a very fast hot rod here in qualifying. What's that going to translate here for the 200?
Should be pretty good. Like I said, we have a small field, so it's probably going to get strung out and be long runs, which, like I said, last week, my weak point. But I'm good at this track, so I don't burn the right rear off as bad as I do other places, so it's all about keeping the right rear on it as long as you can, and it's going to turn into a fuel mileage race, and who can get their gallons just right.
Well, you got the pick of the litter here. 1 through 8 is on the board. What number would you like here to kick off our RC2 Promotions Top 8 redraw?
I would like whatever the poll is, but
$1 million, and I'll give you the number.
let's go with 5. I said I have no clue what's been picked as far as. There's got to be a pattern that Robbie does, but nobody knows it.
All right, number 5 is going to be 4th for you, Mr. Shepard.
Okay.
So outside row number 2, not too bad.
Not bad at all. I'll take that.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we'll be talking to you here after 200 laps in the victory lane.
All right, thank y'all.
Here you go there, Dustin Shepard. Going to roll off in P number 4, Kelly, as that rolls that off the board. Up next is, I believe, did you wrangle all the cats down there? You look a little bit out of breath.
I think I've got everyone together. We are missing one driver, but he is the 10th qualifier, so technically he's not really picking a spot anyway, so I think we can move on without him. If he shows up, we'll talk to him, but I think we're going to go along now to Rodney Huntoon, our 3rd place qualifier, I guess now 2nd essentially due to EOLs. So, Rodney, racing underneath the lights here tonight, what are you expecting out of the Five Flags Speedway?
Small field. Got a feeling it's going to be a long run, and I have to say that right rear.
Well, I think you've got pretty much your pick here. Trying to remember which one was pick 5. We're missing number 5. So anything other than that, 1 through 8 is your choice.
Let's go with number 7.
Number 7 coming off the board, and it is P number 8. Rodney, P number 8 for the number 12 car here to start tonight's Gulf Coast Showdown.
Well, that went backwards, but I'll take it.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. Look, you got a pretty good hot rod underneath you. We'll see what you can do here in 200 laps.
All right, thank you.
There you go. That's Rodney. We'll let him get back out there for practice. Next up will be the number 69. That would be Randy Nichols. And Randy, no stranger here to the top 8 redraw presented by RC2 Promotions. And Randy slotting in here tonight inside this redraw. It's a good start to the night.
Yeah, kind of, it's a lot better than what I thought I was going to end up because, first lap of qualifying spun out off of 4, so I was just kind of hoping to hang on and get a decent spot, and about killed it off of turn 2. So I'm pretty happy with a P4.
Well, let's see what kind of number we can get you. I can let you know that the poll is still out there. Numbers 5 and 7 have come off the board, so you can pick any other one there.
Let's go. Let's do a 3. Do it for Dale.
Doing it for Dale. Number 3 coming off the board, and the 3 is the pole. So the pole for Randy Nichols, and I know it's a long race, but always starting up front is always good.
Yeah, it's just he's going to be not sliding the tires and burning them off tonight. So we'll see how it turns out.
Well, we wish you the best of luck here. We're going to move along, but we hope to be talking to you here at the end of 200 laps.
Yep, hope so, guys. Thank you.
All right, Kelly, I believe you've got our next one, which will be, I believe, Philip Martin.
Yeah, I'm going to catch up now with Philip Martin. And Philip, we've got 200 laps underneath the lights here tonight. A lot of drivers are expecting long green flag runs here. So have you got your fuel strategy mapped out?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. We'll see how it works out once we get rolling, but it all kind of depends on yellows and when they fall and what happens,
Well, I believe the saying is everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, so we'll see how things go for you here tonight. But let's go on to our redraw here. We got numbers 1, 2, 4, 6, and 8 still up on the board. What would you like?
We'll go somewhere in the middle. We'll go 4.
All right, number 4 rolling out, and it's going to be P number 3.
All right, I'll take it.
So a third place start for Philip Martin, and not too bad here. Philip, good luck here in tonight's 200 lapper.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Kelly, we're halfway through our top 8 here. Now we move in to talk to the number 5 of Scott Austin, who's having a good season. Scott moving up in that point standings coming in here to tonight. 200 laps, and you're in the RC2 Promotion Top 8 redraw. Pretty good start to the night.
Yeah, we're hoping our good luck continues. I really like this track, so hopefully it's a long one. Hopefully it's a quick one for us, and finish up front like we should.
We've got the numbers 1, 2, 6, and 8 left to choose from. What's it going to be?
I'll take the 2.
Number 2. Number 2 is going to be P6 for Scott Austin. So Scott goes on the outside of row number 3. Can you get it done from there?
I think so. It's a real long race. We got plenty of time to move forward.
All right, well, we wish you the best of luck here, sir. And we look forward to see what you can do here tonight. Good luck.
Thanks, you guys. Have fun tonight.
All right, Kelly, I believe that you have the next driver on line.
Yeah, going to catch up with current points leader Ryan Johnson. And Ryan, it looks like there may be 2 lines out there tonight. Do you expect the outside line to maybe come in at some point during this race?
I feel like it could. I have no idea when that'll be. But, yeah, I think there's a good chance it could. We'll see.
All right, well, for your choice of positions, there are still the positions of 2, 5th, and 7th on the board. So your choice of numbers, 1, 6, or 8. What would you like to take?
Let's go with number 8.
Number 8. For your current high points, man, it is going to be the outside pole for Ryan Johnson. So, you know, a little track position there.
Yeah, I'll take it, man.
We wish you the best of luck, Ryan, and we'll see what you can do here with these 200 laps.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Kelly, and that'll give us our last driver, the driver of the number 54 of Rex Hoyle. He's going to come in. He's got a 50-50 shot at starting 5th or 7th. Numbers 1 and 6 still on the board. Rex, what number would you like?
Number 6.
Number 6. So the 6 coming off the board. He's going to reach in, and it's going to be P number 5 for 54. Hey, it's got a number that you're in there, so good to see you up here in this top 8 redraw presented by RC2 Promotions. What's your outlook here for this? It's a 200-lap event, a long race. What's it going to take to stay up front?
Well, I think we're going to kind of take it easy and maybe let the race come to us in the second half. That's what the plan is right now.
Well, we wish you the best of luck here tonight, and we will see what you can do with this 54 car as he's going to roll off into P number 5. Good luck, Rex.
Thank you, sir.
So that will mean Braden Campbell will be starting, or will be our last driver. He's not here to pick for himself, but there's only one choice for him. He'll be starting in 7th. So that is our top 8 redraw, Al.
Yeah, he'll start P number 7. We ran that down there, so a good look there for Brandon Campbell. So we'll do a quick synopsis here. Randy Nichols going to grab the pole. Ryan Johnson, the outside pole. Philip Martin, Dustin Shepard, Rex Hoyle, Scott Austin, Braden Campbell, and Rodney Huntoon. So that really split up that Bryan Hacker. Going to only be 12 points back, but missing that RC2 Promotion top 8 redraw. Do you think that is a big factor here tonight, Kelly? We know it's a long race. Depending on how that race goes, 1 to 2 stops here at the Five Flags Speedway.
I don't think so. We've seen Bryan Hacker start from the back after taking EOL from his previous win this season, and he charged right through the field. So with a lot of green flag running, I think Bryan Hacker, if he keeps the car clean, can get himself back up into the front and challenge Ryan Johnson for the points lead. And as mentioned, after tonight, the drop weeks will take effect, and we will get our point standings shaken up once again. But then we will know where everyone stands and what the points battle looks like coming into the end of the season.
That we will as we take a look here at the starting lineup here tonight for the Gulf Coast Showdown. 200 laps of action coming at you, and this is your starting lineup. It is going to be Randy Nichols in car number 69 on the front row. Outside of him, his dancing partner will be the number 38 of Ryan Johnson. Philip Martin and Dustin Shepard will roll off in row number 2. Rex Hoyle and the number 5 of Scott Austin in row number 3. Row number 4 going to be Braden Campbell and Rodney Huntoon in car number 12. Rolling off in the 9th. It's going to be all over the place. Dan Janjanin and John Cross will make up row number 5.
Which means Mark Keeler will be rolling off in 11th. 12th will be Bryan Hacker. Adam Gable will be rolling off in 13th. 14th will go to the 01 of Josh Nelms. 15th is the 68 of Jordan Madron. Chad McLeod will be rolling off in 16th. Ray Ricker will be rolling off in 17th. 18th will be Robbie Clavey. 19th, Brian Bianchi, and then Matthew Allen will be rounding out starting in the back of the field in 20th, and then we will have our 2 EOLs of Matt Cook and Gary Eschen.
Always a good good omen when you have to be starting at the back of the field, but you don't want to be there. But I guess on a regular night when it's 125 laps in distance, it's probably not the best of things, but 200 laps, a lot can happen here as the field rolls behind the Ford Mustang iRacing pace car here as we get ready to go green flag racing for the first time here tonight in the Gulf Coast Showdown. 200 laps of racing coming at you. Green flag is up, and we are underway for the first time.
Yeah, Randy Nichols leading the field down into turn 1, just on his outside. There's the 38 of Ryan Johnson. Johnson having to go way up the racetrack there, getting a little bit into the marbles. That gives an opportunity for the 46 of Philip Martin. Martin can maybe get himself down on the bottom. He's got his nose to the quarter panel, but that outside line still carrying a good amount of momentum. That is going to allow Ryan Johnson to hold on to second place just behind them as the field kind of starts to file into single file. Rex Hoyle will just get past Scott Austin. Austin trying now. He's going to cross him up, go down to the inside of that 54 car, get himself down to the bottom of the racetrack, see if he can maybe complete the pass coming off of turn 4 to complete lap 2.
Yeah, Austin down to the inside, trying to take that 5th spot away. Hoyle should be able to get down as Campbell and Huntoon spice it up. Here comes the number 2 of Bryan Hacker. He's battling it with the number 10 of John Cross. As he'll make theirs, Campbell works the outside of the speedway, unable to find a hole down low just yet. And behind them, how about Dan Janjanin? He's dealing with the 68 of Jordan Martin, or Madron, excuse me. It back here for spot number 12.
Philip Martin towards the front of the field was looking to the outside of Ryan Johnson. However, now he's having to drop back a little bit, goes a little bit wide off of turn 2, and that's going to open up the door for Dustin Shepard. He's immediately going to fill that gap, run all the way to the bottom underneath the 46, and there's problems for Philip Martin. I think he scraped the wall coming off of turn 2, and he is slow. And now there's a car spinning. That looks to be the one of Nelms. He's in the wall at the start-finish line. The first caution of the night is up in the air.
The 00 of Nelms facing nose first into inside wall. So just 5 laps into tonight's 200 lap contest, and the 00 has some heavy front end damage, and it looks like it might have just been a single car incident, Kelly. I don't see too many other cars with incidents, and the booth says they haven't. Let's take a look here and see what happened to Nelms. So he was right there behind Cross and Campbell. Oh yeah, just lost it off the bottom of the racetrack and hit that inside wall. So a single car incident on the front stretch. Not too many times we were able to say that.
Yeah, it looks like he may have just been gassing it up a little bit too hard, too early, and giving it a little bit too much wheel to keep it off of Braden Campbell there, and just sent himself spinning down. And he's going to be down on pit road along with Mark Keeler, Adam Gable. So a couple of drivers taking early pit stops. We've seen that it is going to likely be a 2-stop race with, we've heard the fuel should last anywhere between 85 to 95 laps. So a couple drivers coming down early, maybe trying to see if they can turn this into a 1-stop from here on out.
Yeah, this would at least maybe potentially get them to past that halfway point as the field rolls around. I believe Keeler going to beat the pace car off. He was missing the front bumper cap to the 08, so Keeler was in trouble as well. We missed what happened there as the field paces behind there. I believe this time we may see that Austin Design choose cone for the first time this afternoon. I guess this evening as the lights are on.
So looking back, Keeler actually ran into trouble on lap 2, just a little bit of a single car incident there as he got loose off of turn 2, got into the inside wall as we see the choose cone come to effect the first time tonight. So the choose cone tonight is the E at the Five Flags lettering on the start-finish line. So any driver going below the E will be the inside. Any driver out on the outside will be the outside lane. Any driver that hits that E, though, will be given an EOL.
And so far, everybody is choosing that outside lane as the choose being done. The field doubling up behind the pace car, and this time by. We'll see 1 to go. In last week's winner, Gary Eschen. Not too much progress, but has picked off a few cars here, Kelly, at the start of this one.
Yeah, but someone that has moved up fast is Bryan Hacker. He started in 12th, essentially, even though it will show on our timing and scoring that he started in 14th. Due to the EOLs, he started in 12th, and he's already found himself up into 7th place. So Bryan Hacker wasting no time making up for his qualifying mistakes. He is a fast car. He was one of the fastest in practice, so I was surprised to see his qualifying time come in so slow. But I think he was just pushing a little bit too hard in qualifying and got that car a little loose. We were getting it back onto green flag racing, though, as Randy Nichols just jumped out to the lead. And just behind them, Dustin Shepard trying to catch Ryan Johnson sleeping. Johnson now stuck on that outside line, and Austin finds himself a gap on the bottom side. He's going to get himself down there, trying to take away the 3rd place from Johnson. Now Johnson trying to see if he can maybe work that outside lane. He was able to use it earlier. He's carrying some good speed off of turn 4. He will stay ahead of Austin for now, but there's nowhere for him to go onto that preferred bottom lane through 1 and 2.
Yeah, we know that this racetrack really rough on the tires until the rubber gets laid down a little bit more. And Johnson working that outside lane with that momentum, a little bit of contact off the corners. Austin still trying to make that inside lane. The momentum working the outside. This is a great battle for the 3rd spot. Still 2x2, a little bit more contact down the backstretch. That's what we love about this. But you got to be careful, Kelly, as we really haven't talked about it much this season, as we really haven't needed to. There is a 14x limit here, so if any driver gets 14 iRacing incident points in an event, they get pretty much a DQ from that lap or from the moment that they reach 14 incident points. So you'll want to keep it off the cars. You don't want to make too much contact. That is an interesting point here to make, is just especially in this very long 200 lap race.
Yeah, but those two have just been making some light touches. I don't think there will be any incident points given for them. They're still side by side, though, neither one giving up a single inch. But it also doesn't seem like it's slowing either of them up at all in the slightest, as they're kind of keeping an even gap between themselves. Dustin Shepard and Bryan Hacker right behind them. Hacker, as mentioned, moving his way through the field. Restarted in 7th, I believe. He's already got himself up into 5th once again. He's got himself around Philip Martin. Philip Martin right behind him, and now Hacker trying to close that gap to those two drivers that are still battling it out for 3rd place.
Yeah, and right now trying to figure out which lane to go, and the outside lane holding its own right now. And if you're the drivers behind this, you're probably taking some notes saying, all right, well, there's a little bit of speed up there. Ryan's able to hold on. Is now Scott Austin able to get there, but a crossover move by Johnson back to the inside. That's going to move the finish line number 5 to the outside as the Wisco number 38. More contact. If iRacing had tire marks, Kelly, they'd have tire marks all the way down to the race cars.
Yeah, there would be multiple donuts on the sides of those cars. They are still door to door. Johnson on that last lap said, all right, I've had my fun on the outside. Now you try it. And these guys are still battling it out. At some point, though, one of them has to just give up the position because they cannot keep doing this. It's going to be burning their tires. They're basically narrowing the width of the track, forcing themselves to lean on those right sides a little bit more. And a long race like this, in cars that have very long pit stops as well, they've got to take care of those tires. We are going to have a couple stops throughout the race, but if we get a long green flag run here, these guys are going to be very slow towards the end of it.
Yeah, we were hearing down on pit road. I know you alluded to it a little bit earlier, about 85 to 95 laps of green flag race, and they might be able to stretch it depending on the number of cautions here tonight. And we already had one of those yellow rags fly in a great battle here. Now Austin going to feel the pressure from the number 2 of Bryan Hacker, and those really are the top 3 in the point standings right now. Is Ryan Johnson your points leader over Scott Austin, who runs in 3rd, and Bryan Hacker only 12 markers back, so a really tight points battle here coming in at the halfway point of the season.
Yeah, but I would expect that Austin and Hacker will race each other very clean. Both these guys are teammates, I believe, so these guys are just going to give each other some room, not lean on each other quite as much as Ryan and Scott were earlier. Scott going way up the track now, giving Bryan a little bit of a better line. And as these guys are fighting it out, Randy Nichols is quietly opening that gap. He has brought it up to 1.1 seconds over Dustin Shepard, who himself is only about 0.3 ahead of Ryan Johnson, who is closing that gap every single lap. Bryan Hacker now has got himself clear of Scott Austin. Austin was able to get himself back down to the bottom side just before the 46 of Martin could fill that hole. So everyone now running single file throughout the racetrack and throughout the entire field. I don't think there is anyone battling just yet, as these drivers are just trying to get themselves some pace and maybe set themselves up for a pass a little bit later on.
Yeah, and just taking a look back here, Matt Cook, who won the Doloweiser Award, set the fast time here while him and Dustin Shepard tied, but his name was atop of the scoring pylon. He has made his way up to the 11th spot. Remember, he had an EOL from Incident Point out a little bit earlier on this season, and last week's winner from IRP, Gary Eschen, finds himself in the 12th spot as he has just gotten around. Adam Gable is now Madron and Cross trying to battle it out. Here is now Madron starting to close in on Rodney Huntoon in the 54 of Rex Hoyle.
Yeah, Huntoon trying to get underneath Hoyle here. Hoyle going up the racetrack, kind of running an even higher line that we had seen both Scott Austin and Ryan Johnson running earlier on when they were trying to defend on that high side. So I don't think that's quite where you want to be. He's getting a little bit too far up there and getting up towards those marbles, and he is going to lose ground to Rodney Huntoon. Huntoon has pretty much got himself clear of that 54, and now that is going to give an opportunity for that 68 car. Yeah, he's going to get right up to the door of the 54 of Hoyle. They're going to be side by side basically across the line here, and now Jordan Madron is going to get himself around Rex Hoyle and move himself up into 8th place. And now Jonathan Cross, he's going to try to close up that gap and maybe see if he can take another spot away from Rex Hoyle.
And then while they were battling it out, the number 38 of Ryan Johnson has made his way around Dustin Shepard, but sees Randy Nichols out to a 1.5 second lead at this current juncture of the race. Is a little bit deeper. Robbie Clavey back there in the 73 working as he battles with the 44 of Ray Riker. Riker, a driver from the state of New York, I do believe. He's battling back here with Dan Janjanin. Riker with his first start of 2024 here with the ZooFab Garage Super Street Stock Series. As he works the high side of the speedway, Dan Janjanin gonna move by. Say that 10 times fast, Kelly, will ya?
Yeah, Janjanin able to get through as the 44 got himself up into the marbles there and lost a lot of ground and a lot of speed. And Randy Nichols holds a good lead. However, he is losing ground every single lap by just about a 1/10 of a second each time. That time a little bit less, about 0.05 of a second. But Ryan Johnson running some fast laps, some of the fastest on the speedway. However, the fastest car I am seeing over that last lap is actually the 02 of Bryan Hacker. So Hacker is running hard. He is trying to get himself back up to the front as he had to start way back in the field. He's up 8 positions. He's trying to get himself into the top 3, but I think his main target is that 38 car, his points rival here in the championship hunt.
Yeah, trying to keep it close there. Right behind them is the race lead. Now to just 1 second as these cars are starting to file in on that Thunderbird. The next 3 cars in line are the old style Camaros, and well, rumor is the Camaros have a little bit more of an arrow edge on the faster tracks, though I don't really believe that, Kelly. That's what I'm told by our colleague Racing Jason. That'll be with me on Wednesday nights. But right now it is Nichols out front, Johnson, Shepard, Hacker, Scott Austin, your top 5. How about Philip Martin in that number 6 spot? He rolls in here. Remember, Martin started in the 3rd spot, so finds himself in P number 6. And what seems as everybody's settled in is they all know 200 laps is a very long distance.
And Bryan Hacker starting to put some pressure on Dustin Shepard here as we cross the line to start lap number 40. Number 200 laps scheduled for the distance here tonight. And now it looks like Bryan Hacker nearly looking for it. He's looking to the inside, trying to get himself. He is going to get his bumper to the quarter panel of the 89, forcing that 89 car up the racetrack. Shepard trying to battle back on the high side, but Hacker going to have that preferred lane, and he's going to force Shepard to back off. However, that is going to cost Shepard. No, he is going to find the gap. He's going to immediately throw himself into the line there and prevent Scott Austin from getting underneath him and possibly losing another position, as Austin actually went a little bit high in turns 3 and 4 and actually gave him a good run down the front straightaway. Now he's going to get himself to the inside of Dustin Shepard, and that inside line is working tonight. We have seen drivers be able to defend on the high side, but I don't know if Dustin Shepard can do it. He has not quite found where that speed is on the high side. He gets a little loose off of 4, and that's going to allow them to be completely even across the start-finish line. Austin trying to take 4th place away.
They come up off the turn number 2 and down the backstretch. They are drag racing in the turn number 3. As they roll through here is Scott Austin the inside. And just under about 40 laps since we went green flag racing once again, Kelly. So we know Shepard said he is more of a short run kind of a guy. As we start to close in on that, I would say a half of a run on the fuel tanks here. And that's quite a bit of run here. And this one is Scott Austin and Shepard lean on each other off turn number 4. Gotta wonder if he's starting to feel that fatigue there. He said on those long runs. We'll see how the 89 fares is now. He's got Philip Martin and Rodney Huntoon lining up behind them as our race leader Randy Nichols rolls down in the turn number 1, and he is just about a corner away from having lap traffic.
Yeah, Randy Nichols going to have to deal with some lap traffic for the first time. Matthew Allen is the car on the tail end of the field at the moment, but he has actually got a bit of a run on Mark Keeler. Not quite get up to him just yet, but as mentioned, it is not too far away, not too far of a gap between the two of those cars here. But speaking of a gap, it is shrinking between Randy Nichols and Ryan Johnson. Johnson has closed that gap up to 0.8 of a second and is still putting down faster lap times in that 69 car. Gotta wonder, is Randy Nichols just trying to make the tires last? Because we saw Johnson was pushing hard when he was battling against Scott Austin and then has to push hard once again to catch up to Randy Nichols. So Nichols may just be trying to play the long game here. As you mentioned, we are just past the halfway point in our first fuel run.
Yeah, 48 laps in the books. They start lap 49. The last time at the line, Scott Austin, the fastest car on the racetrack, with an 18.45 as he's finally shaking the 89 of Shepard, and Philip Martin's going to follow on by. So move Martin into the 5th spot around Shepard. And a little bit back there, how about these drivers tossing it up? Cross, Madron doing a good job in that 68 car. He's making his way as he's up in the marbles. Matt Cook and Gary Eschen just looking for a way into the top 10. Both those drivers very fast race cars here this afternoon as we are at the 1/4 mark, 25% of the way into tonight's Golf Coast Showdown, 200 laps here. These guys are really mixing it up here as we watch this battle for inside the top 10. Rex Hoyle trying to pass the number 10 of Cross. Is now Matt Cook underneath Madron, and Gary Eschen going to follow as well.
Yeah, Cook and Eschen, the two drivers, had to start at the back of the field for various EOLs, and now they are working their way up into the top 10 here as we have a car coming down pit road. That looks like Dan Janjanin. He has gotten no front end on that car, and looks like he's not even going to come into his pit box. He's going to stop there on pit road, and I think he is pulling it behind the wall. I'm going to take a look and see what happened to Janjanin, but it seems like it was actually a few laps ago that he caused that damage, but I think that may be the end of the night for Janjanin. Looks like he may have got loose off of turn 4 and caught that inside wall, but just managed to keep it at a shallow enough angle to keep himself from bringing out a caution. But yeah, Janjanin is behind the wall. That is the end of his night.
Tough break for Dan as we like that race cars. Things starting to heat up though at the front of this one. Nichols running that middle lane right now is Bryan Hacker now on the attack underneath Ryan Johnson. Johnson tried to fake him into turn number 3 and 4. Up off the corner, 2x2. They'll come off for the number 2 spot. Bryan Hacker trying to take that number 2 spot away as they've ran it down Nichols and Scott Austin right there. Philip Martin, 5 cars underneath the blanket down the backstretch.
Yeah, Bryan Hacker getting himself ahead of Johnson. Now going to completely clear him going into turn 3. Coming out of 4, he's going to be able to track up and just get into the front of Johnson, preventing him from getting a full run down into turn 1. And while they're battling it out, they are still closing up to Randy Nichols, who I think has been saving, but at this point he has got to get on the throttle as they're also catching up to some lap traffic here. A big gaggle of cars, and you've got 2 cars that are trying to just keep themselves out of the way of this 5-way battle for the race lead that is nearly going to be 6 as Dustin Shepard's catching up. But here comes Bryan Hacker. He's got himself to the inside of Randy Nichols. He's going to go for the move going into turn 3. Bryan Hacker making his way through the field, cutting through traffic, and he's going to get himself into the race lead. We have got a new leader on lap 59.
Yeah, new first time the lead change has changed here this afternoon. Nichols not done though. He's going to battle right back to the inside in the turn number 3. Nichols to the inside now. Bryan Hacker is now Scott Austin works the outside of Ryan Johnson. Johnson to the inside as they all work around the 74 of Matt Allen as Allen goes down 1 lap to these race leaders. As the top 5 make it 6 cars now, all nose to tail, battling it out as Scott Austin tries to make a pass on Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, we saw these two battling it out earlier on, both of each one getting a turn on the high side. Now it looks like that high side might be working out a little bit better. The inside lane may have just been heated up by all these cars that have been running it, and now Scott Austin is actually going to start challenging against the 69 of Nichols here as he's getting his nose to that outside quarter panel. Yeah, he is going to get himself now side by side into turn 1. And now the 46 of Philip Martin has seen how well Scott Austin has worked that outside line. Now Martin's going to try to follow him through. He's to the outside of Johnson, and he's now going to get ahead of him going into turn 3. So that second lane seems to have just a little bit more grip and a little bit better pace as they're working themselves up ahead of these two drivers that are now on that bottom side.
Yeah, that they do, and it's interesting. Now Shepard saw what was happening. He's going to jump back out to that outside lane as well, as they've got the 69 of Nichols pinned to the inside. Nichols, your race leader until just a few laps ago, has now fallen back to the 4th spot as we have one driver down on pit road. It looks like Jordan Madron in the 68 car down on pit road. A little bit early, I think, maybe trying to play a little different strategies. He is down and away, but Bryan Hacker has opened up a half-second lead over teammate Scott Austin. How about Philip Martin really applying the pressure to that number 5?
Yeah, Philip Martin still all over the bumper, is just behind them. They're still battling it out. Johnson trying to get himself around Nichols. Nichols went high in 3, but got a good run off of 4 while it looked like Johnson spun the tires. And along with them, though, is Dustin Shepard looking for one of these guys to make a mistake, or at least one of these guys to win this battle so that he can get himself through. That's Ken in front of them. Martin and Austin are battling it out. Now it looks like Philip Martin getting a good run down the front straightaway. He's going to get himself to the inside. We've seen that the outside lane can be a little bit faster, but as behind them, Johnson wins the battle on the inside. Martin's trying to see if he can win his battle for second place on the inside line as well.
And Martin down to the inside, trying to get that number 2 spot away as he tries to get in the turns 1 and 2. Austin fighting back on the outside. It looks like Philip Martin with a little bit better drive off. Just kidding. The 5, they're dead even for spot number 2. Great battles all the way around the racetrack here as everybody's trying to settle in. We're in that stage, Kelly, where I think you start, if you're a little bit better at saving tires, it's going to pay off as now Scott Austin holds on to that number 2 spot as Martin got sideways a little bit. You got to take care of those Hoosier Racing tires as this one seems to be long green flag runs. And the question now goes down to the pit boxes down in the pit area. When do you bring your drivers in? Right now is Dustin Shepard trying to find a way around Nichols, and Rodney Huntoon's right there as well. Gary Eschen and Matt Cook have made their way inside the top 10 as they work around the 68 of Madron. Remember, he came down pit road on lap number 61. Is now Chad McLeod coming down pit road in the 93. So the question is,
drivers.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, a few drivers coming down early, and I don't know if that's really the play here because it is going to be a 2-stop race, and they have to really stretch the fuel to make those 2 stops work. As we've got another car coming down pit road. Oh, big problems. He's going to get into the attenuator. That is Josh Nelms. His trouble is going to continue as he already took off the front end earlier on here tonight as he had a single car spin to bring out our first and currently only caution, but more heavy front end damage to the 1 car as he was trying to come down pit road, came down a little too fast in those marbles and got into the pit wall attenuator. So heavy damage to the 1, and I think his night may be done.
And I think that we're going to see, I don't think he'll be the only one that's going to do that. You can see the marbles just continuing to build as these race tires get shredded. is now the 689 of Dustin Shepard, our first leader to come down pit road here on lap 75.
Yeah, cars are coming down a lot earlier than we were expecting. We were expecting the pit window to be between lap 85 to 90, as there's a car spun there on the entrance of the pit road. That looks to be... Oh, there's another one. Randy Nichols goes spinning as well as he tried to get down the pit road. You were right there. They nearly get into each other in the pit road. Brian Bianchi had spun himself as well, so you were right. There is problems for these drivers. It is a very tricky pit entrance here tonight as they're trying to come in fast, and that bottom side is just flat and slippery tonight.
Here's now some more leaders. Matt Cook coming down as Ryan Johnson, your current points leader, follows Philip Martin down here. So if you are Bryan Hacker and Scott Austin, as they work around Clavey, do you stay out, try to stretch that fuel, knowing that your competitors are already coming down pit road, try to trap them down maybe 1 or 2 laps, because we do know that the pit stops are a little bit on the longer side here for these drivers, but we'll see. Clavey's a little bit loose there as well, but I believe coming to pit road is going to be a little tricky as Huntoon's down on pit road now as well.
Well, there isn't a huge gap right now in the pace. I mean, Bryan Hacker is less than a second slower than his fastest lap, as he is still working around this racetrack. So there isn't a huge overlap in these fresh tires, at least at the moment. So it seems like Hacker has saved those tires quite well. So it may be a good idea to just keep running and try to stretch this out so he can maybe have some better tires towards the end of this race, or maybe even a layer race car, as he will not have to fuel as much on that second run. One thing we were also talking about is maybe drivers trying to save fuel and try to stretch that fuel out so they can make it on just one stop, as I believe now Randy Nichols has pulled it behind the wall. He has called it a night. I think he ran into some more trouble after he came back out onto the racetrack. Looking back at it now, looks like he got himself loose off of turn 2 by himself, spun down into the inside wall, and has called it a night.
Tough break for the driver that started on the pole here tonight. Virtue of the RC2 Promotions Top 8 redraw, and had a fast hot rod underneath them. Just shows you how quickly the night can go sideways if you're not careful here. And the marbles here, Kelly, to me, that is the big story, trying to get on the pit road with these hot tires under green flag pit stops. As we see Scott Austin running in spot number 2, is Philip Martin behind him, has already come down pit road. Martin, though, running back in P number 11. He is 2 laps off of the pace, is now the 5 of Scott Austin, and the 46 trade more paint. Is now Martin going to get there? He's trying to get back down only 1 lap the hard way. And he's got 1 car between himself and the race leader, Bryan Hacker.
I think he's actually still being scored 3 laps down. It is a long pit stop here tonight. Yeah, it is not quite at the 2-lap mark. So if he were to, if a caution were to come out, he would still be trapped multiple laps down. He would get maybe 1 back from the wave around due to the leaders pitting, but he would still be stuck down there. So that may be another reason why Bryan Hacker is staying out. He's maybe trying to trap this field multiple laps down and give himself a huge advantage, because he's still running at a fairly decent pace. I mean, you are seeing those fresher tires are faster and they are getting around him, but those tires will burn off quite quickly. So when he pits a little bit later on, he may be able to just charge back around these guys.
Yeah, or is he giving up?
Oh, no, here he comes.
He's coming down this time. He's going to give the race lead over to Scott Austin, which leaves him and Ray Riker only the 2 drivers not to pit as of yet. Adam Gable running there in that on tie number 91 car. He came down pit road on lap number 7, Kelly, so I assume he can go a little bit longer on fuel, but will the tires last that long?
Yeah, he did come down earlier and I think took some fuel, trying to maybe stretch it out and make it into 1 stop from that point on, because during that first caution. So we'll see what the Adam Gable can do, if he can maybe make that strategy work, as you've seen those cars with fresher tires and just working way faster and getting around him. Scott Austin still staying out on track, as there's a car in the wall off of pit road. Looks like Chad McLeod is hard into the wall. Looks like there is no front end, but He was spun on the apron. We will stay green, so the 93 car, heavy damage. I think he'll be coming straight back into the pits. Actually coming up the racetrack. He is going to stay out.
Yeah, the 93 McLeod, I was really nervous there because that was on the exit of pit road, and pit road had some cars on it, Kelly. So he was able to get that righted quickly enough where it's not going to impede anybody coming out of the racetrack. But McLeod now down 4 laps to your race leader, Scott Austin, as he's got Rex Hoyle coming up to the inside of him. And it's tough right now when you're out there on these older tires, you know, just playing the strategy game as Scott Austin is right now. It is hard. You know, you got to watch that rear view mirror just as much as look out that front windshield as the cars behind you come a little bit quicker. But Austin has a 9-second gap over this man, the 91 of Adam Gable. Gable in that 91 car. Sharp looking race car, isn't it, Kelly?
Yeah, but as we are looking at the standings here, you can kind of see how it has worked out for Bryan Hacker running so long because he pit later because he's gone for the overcut. Ryan Johnson was able to is out around him or out in front of him along with Dustin Shepard, who I think was one of the first cars to come down pit road. Jordan Madron, Philip Martin, and Rodney Huntoon are all ahead of that 2-car of Hacker just because of Hacker staying out on those old worn tires. But he does have fresher rubber now than those drivers ahead of him. But I don't know if it is enough to really close up that gap. But we'll have to see how things are going to work out. We are still not quite at the halfway point of this race, so the strategies still have a lot of time to play out.
I was going to say Hacker down 3 laps, but here he comes up behind the number 5 of Scott Austin. Is Austin trying to stay out to lead the halfway point of the Gulf Coast Showdown? And that'd be a long stretch on the fuel, longer than what we thought would be available inside these fuel tanks. Austin has not been down pit road as of yet, so he's got 97 laps. I believe he's on that back end of what we were told in the garage here this afternoon of when he was
Here he comes.
and he's coming down pit road this time.
And he actually went in almost a little too hot. He nearly slid back out onto the racing surface, but managed to slow that car down, didn't lock up the tires. We'll have to see now where he's going to filter out here, as Ryan Johnson has already got around him to take one of his laps back. Here comes Dustin Shepard. He's going to be the one we're really going to have to keep an eye on. He's essentially leading the drivers that have come down to pit. Adam Gable and Matthew Allen did come down, but it was during the first caution of the evening, so on lap 7 and lap 8 respectively. So we'll see what those guys are going to be able to do, if they can maybe stretch this into a one stop from here on out. Dustin Shepard is going to get back around Scott Austin, and Austin is going to go way back in the field.
Yeah, it's going to be see where he slots in. Right now, only falling to the 5th spot. But we know other drivers around him are going to fall. And right now, everyone is down. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
And I think that is exactly what Scott Austin needed, because this will slow the field up. It might actually, no, it will not allow him to get back out in time. So he is going to be, I think, a lap down from Johnson, as the field is still quite mixed up, as we've got Adam Gable, the only car on the lead lap, just due to him him pitting much earlier. So this actually might work out for Adam Gable. He's going to be able to come down pit road, and if everyone else stays out to take a lap wave around, I think he'll be in the lead with only a couple cars actually on the lead lap with him.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do right now? Because, like, only 4 cars, or 3 cars, is now the 74 Mark Allen is going to, or Matt Allen, excuse me, gets the wave around right now. So that leaves 2 cars on the lead lap. Allen was on pit road lap number 8. Gable was on pit road in lap number 7. So you know they're going to come down pit road. But if you are Ryan or Dustin Shepard and Ryan Johnson, you have to stay out to take that wave around. Bryan Hacker going to come down pit road. He is down 2 laps. So these guys that are down multiple laps here, They could have stayed out to stay one lap down, but they're going to come down and top it off, looks like here, with some fuel. I mean, take some tires, but wow, what a turn of events here, Kelly.
Yeah, and I believe it was Brian Bianchi that was the one to bring out the caution here. This is our second caution of the evening. I have to take a look to see what happened to that car. I think it may have just been another single car spin off of turn 4. It is a very tricky corner to get right. If you get on the throttle a little bit too hard, it is very easy to lose that thing off of 4. We'll have to see actually if as Adam Gable is actually going to be able to beat the pace car out. Actually, I don't think he is. The pit road is closed, so he's going to drop way back in the field. And that may allow a few more drivers to get another wave around and get their lap back. So we'll have to see what's going to happen here before we go green. I have to wait until this whole field is sorted out to see exactly where things are going to line up, because things have got quite mixed up by this caution.
Yeah, and we just watched the replay there, Kelly, and the one car just caught that apron in turns 3 and 4. As you know, the white line not painted down there. So this caught the apron, unloaded the suspension, and around it went. Your race leader, though, is currently the 74 of Matt Allen, who's coming down pit road once again. So really interested to see is there is a few more wave arounds going on right now. Shepard, Gable, Johnson, Martin, Huntoon. So virtue of Allen pitting, does that wave around a lot more cars?
And also Gable missing the pace car. So I think Dustin Shepard's now being scored in the lead. This is getting very confusing as cars are trying to get their wave around. They're also trying to take the choose cone. Things have been very mixed up by this caution here.
I don't think they've done the choose cone just yet, have they, Kelly?
I thought they had, but now because cautions have been extended a few times, the race control is trying to sort this out. This is a big mess that's been caused by this caution with so many cars on a very wildly different pit strategies. But I think right now being scored in the race lead is Dustin Shepard. I think now cars are hitting the choose cone. But I think there's going to be a number of cars still waved around because there's quite a few ahead of Dustin Shepard. So there's going to be Riker, Hoyle. There's Cook being shown ahead of him. Huntoon, Eschen. I do not know what is going on.
This is not our problem to fix. We are going green flag racing. Shepard, your race leader, he's about 8 cars deep with lap traffic in front of him. So those cars that are actually out front, Philip Martin and those are on the tail end of the lead lap as they all try to get around to 44. We are 3 wide, Kelly, off of turn number 4.
Yeah, Scott Austin trying to work it up the middle there as he tries now to get underneath. He nearly gets himself hooked on the 10 car of Jonathan Cross. He is going to get himself through, though. They are still 3 wide, multiple rows deep as there he goes, Bryan Hacker, as well as Jordan Madron trying to go up the middle between the 91 of Adam Gable and it looks like a 44 car as well. So cars all over the place as we have got drivers all over the place, the standings all mixed up as we are still racing here with Dustin Shepard in the lead. He's already got himself about a 1 second lead over Adam Gable just due to how mixed up the lap traffic is at the moment.
Oh, trouble for Bryan Hacker. Up the racetrack he goes, contacting himself in the 10 across. And right now, if the yellow flag were to fly, Scott Austin would get the free pass as he currently rides in spot number 8, but Dustin Shepard leads it. This one could probably use a quick yellow flag just to sort out, but as you're Dustin Shepard, you really don't want to see that as you have a 1.4 second lead over Adam Gable, who runs there in spot number 2. And like you said, that yellow flag really causing some havoc here for some of these drivers and their strategy play.
Yeah, you've essentially got 3 cars that are on the lead lap, kind of with the lead. You've got the rest of them that are ahead are on the tail end, essentially just under a lap down. Philip Martin is while appearing to be ahead of Dustin Shepard on the racetrack, he's actually 16 seconds back. So I think those guys would like a quick caution to kind of get themselves back sorted out here. Scott Austin would like one so he could get a wave around. He's actually about to get his lap back the hard way as he's right on the tail end of Dustin Shepard. So I think he wants to try to get that back so that he can get himself around and give the lucky dog to his teammate Bryan Hacker, who has just got himself around Adam Gable, who is effectively in second place at the moment, about a second and a half back from Dustin Shepard.
Yeah, and right now the 5 of Austin came down 98, so he does have about 20 lap fresher tires than the 89 of Dustin Shepard, and it looks like Shepard's just going to let him go. So right now that would put the free pass car to be the number 2 of Bryan Hacker, as the cars all right there in front of him are on the tail end of the lap, including Matt Cook, Philip Martin, who leads this charge in the 46 car. He is really 4th place, just about, what do you call it, 9/10 of a track in front of your race leader of Dustin Shepard. So with the way that all that transpired and whatnot, the field all jumbled up is Dustin Shepard can kind of just ride a little bit. Kelly has almost a 2-second lead over Adam Gable, who's got a few lap cars between himself and the 89 or the 91 of Shepard. So interesting. Just when we thought we had it figured out.
Yeah, but one thing to note, Ryan Johnson still sitting in 3rd place, about 2.8 seconds back. He did come down pit road that last time, or that last caution, so he may be able to get it at least very close to the end of this race, especially if we were to get another caution flag. So keep an eye on him. This may work out for him because Dustin Shepard, I'm fairly certain, is going to have to pit again. Actually, I could pretty much guarantee it. He came down on lap 74. He is going to have to make one more stop to be able to get to the end of this long 200-lap race.
And let me ask you this question. We know that he's going to have to come down. Is it better to short pit, or do you hold out and see if there's going to be a yellow flag and go at the last possible drop of fuel in these race cells to come down if you're Dustin Shepard right now? 2-second lead and opening that gap a little bit more over Gable, who has got a 1 2/10 second lead over the 38 of Ryan Johnson. But if you're those top 3 cars, you don't really have to push it as hard currently, because you know the guys that you're racing are right there out the front windshield.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a gamble for Dustin Shepard if he does try to go long at this point, because we saw just how fast those drivers that pit early were compared to the ones that had stayed out and had really worn their tires down. But as you saw, if a caution flag comes flying at just the right time, you can trap a lot of fast cars a lap down, as now it looks like the 2 of Hacker is going to get himself around Dustin Shepard. He's going to get his lap back, which means the lucky dog is now going to be the 68 of Jordan Madron. So he's probably going to be hoping for a caution here. Actually, I think a number of drivers are hoping for a caution to maybe sort things out. Pretty much all of the top 10 are really hoping that someone will spin it here so they can get themselves back into the fight for the race lead. Dustin Shepard, though, wanting to try to just run this as long as he can.
Yeah, and I mean, Shepard doing what he needs to out the front of this one. 2-second lead over Gable, and just managing his lap times is now Scott Austin has found his way up through the field. Now he's up on past Matt Cook to move Austin into that number 6 position. And right there in front of him, last week's winner, Gary Eschen, is Eschen battling it out with Philip Martin. And remember, this is for clean track in front of you, but he's some 16 seconds back of the race leader, who is just coming down the backstretch right now.
Yeah, Eschen has slightly fresher tires than Philip Martin. Eschen came down the pits in lap 83. Martin came down on lap 76, so there's a slight difference there. But look at Scott Austin. He came down on lap 98. He has got a lot of life in those tires, and he is going to use it, as he seems like he is determined to get himself back into the race, the fight for the race lead, the hard way and the long way, as he is now getting himself around the 46 of Martin. just down there on the inside, forcing Martin way up the racetrack as the marbles have been cleared back a little bit. Drivers have been running that higher line, especially on our restart here, as drivers are forced to go 3 wide. So the track has widened out slightly, but the difference in tire is just too much, and Scott Austin will get himself around into 5th. But it looks like the 46 of Martin is going to try to fight back.
Yeah, Martin was trying to make something happen there, but unable to do so as the 5 car starts to put a little bit of ground between them. But if you're Scott Austin, you know you came down, you're one of the last cars to come down pit road. You know you have the fresher tires. How hard are you trying to beat them up, as they know they are, pretty much just on the tail end of the lap, so that you can't really ride because you can't. You know the leader's right there behind you, but at the same time you got to go a little bit quicker, trying to make some ground up here. You got to say it's one of those catch-22s here with about 65 laps to go, closing in on 65 laps to go. And what has been a great Gulf Coast Showdown here for the ZooFab Garage Street Stock Series is this one really got tipsy-turvy as we watched the battle here. Matt Cook feeling the pressure from the 12 of Huntoon. Huntoon feeling the pressure from championship hopeful, the number 2 of Bryan Hacker. And Hacker's got to go as well. He came down underneath that yellow flag, though, Kelly. Took some extra tires and filled that number 2 car. So he may be able to go the distance.
Yeah, there's a couple drivers that might be able to make it work, as Adam Gable and Ryan Johnson also came down pit road, but they managed to get out of pit road before Dustin Shepard, because Shepard got to when he got to pit exit, the exit closed. He didn't beat the pace car out, so he had to stay there and allow the field to go by, which allowed a couple drivers to get themselves onto the lead lap, and also contributed to making this a little bit more mixed up, as just a couple laps ago they actually just put Rex Hoyle under the lap down. So there's a lot of contenders that we thought were going to be fighting for the race lead that are now laps down due to this caution flag.
Yeah, and that's one of the frustrating parts, right? When you're a competitor trying to play that right strategy call, and I guess if it was easy, everybody would do it. Is we watched the battle here for the 4th and 5th spot is up front. Adam Gable, though, starting to close in 1.2 seconds now. The race lead as Gable starting to sniff the backside of that 89 of Dustin Shepard. We know Shepard's going to have to come down, Kelly. It's been about 70 laps since he was on pit road. I'm assuming they'll probably go closer to the 90-ish laps here on a tank of gas for Dustin Shepard due to the yellow flag. But he's going to have to come down pit road, which will if this thing stays green, probably ends any chances he's had.
Yeah, I think he needs to have a caution come out to have any chance here tonight. He's getting close to the end here. He's going to have to come down pit road. Is actually, just behind him. That looked to be trouble for the 68 of Madron. He looks like he got a little loose off of 4, and he's still struggling to maintain control of that car in 1 and 2. Looks like he has gathered it back up, but it looked like Madron was about to get the inside wall off of turn 4. We've seen a number of drivers do that already tonight, and that could have really shaken things up once again. That may have been the caution that a few of these guys are looking for.
Yeah, and right now he's the rose stuck between the thorns, right, Kelly? The 89, your race leader, he needs to get by him to get back on the lead lap. He is the car that's going to assume the race lead when Shepard comes down pit road. Right there behind him in the 91 of Adam Gable, and then right behind him, is Rex Hoyle. Hoyle trying to get up there and get at least back 1 lap down to be in contention for a wave around. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Shepard, his car starting to get a little bit loose off the corner, and Adam Gable's got to be careful here with lap traffic trying to get back on the lead lap. A lot of things playing out here as now Gable takes the look to the inside of Madron.
Yeah, Madron having to go way up the racetrack as it looks like Rodney Huntoon is coming down pit road. We saw Rex Hoyle just a lap ago come down, and earlier I was saying Dustin Shepard had come down during the caution and had missed the pace car. It was actually Adam Gable, which was the reason why Shepard is in the lead. So Adam Gable running about 30 lap fresher tires compared to Dustin Shepard, and I'm actually a little bit surprised it has taken this long for the 91 to catch up. So it may be that Gable has been trying to save fuel and save tires to stretch this thing to the end, As it looks like Shepard is struggling to maintain control of that car, and it is going to allow, he's not even going to fight. He's going to just allow the 91 to get around him. He knows he's not going to make it, as there is another car coming down pit road that looks to be Philip Martin.
And if you're an Adam Gable fan right now, just basing it off of what he did, remember he came down pit road, Kelly, I think lap 8 was his first pit stop as Shepard slides on the pit road. He's going to make it, almost catching the Uke tire on there. But Adam Gable and Ryan Johnson, I believe, may be good to go to the distance here, with just closing in on 50 laps to go. Hard to believe already at the 3/4 mark as Gable leads it over Johnson, Scott Austin, and Bryan Hacker. And Bryan Hacker and Scott Austin some 14, pretty much 15 seconds behind this battle for the race lead.
Yeah, they were drivers that were able to get themselves back ahead of the 89 car of Shepard under green flag conditions, so they got their lap back the hard way. And we're just going to have to watch to see how this works out. We are the last quarter of this race here, 50 laps to go. Watching Adam Gable here coming around. He's got the 54 of Rex Hoyle right behind him, but Rex Hoyle is 2 laps down, so Hoyle looking to get himself around that 91 car in hopes of maybe getting a wave around when the caution comes out, if the caution were to come out once again. As we're seeing cars coming back onto the racetrack, a couple cars coming off the racetrack. It looks like Mark Keeler having some trouble there, as he went all the way down into the grass to stay out of the way. It doesn't look like he's got a front clip on that car once again.
No, Keeler has had a rough go of it. Looks like the left front tire might be dislodged from that Monte Carlo's chassis. He will come down here on the front stretch, and some heavy damage to Mark Keeler. Tough break that we don't like to see that. But now the number 91 has a little bit of pressure from the 15 of Matt Cook. That's going to put Cook just 2 laps down, as Ryan Johnson, your current high points man, into tonight's Gulf Coast Showdown, runs in second spot. And really Austin and Hacker they're catching them, Kelly. They've taken 2 seconds off of that race lead, and they seem to continue to close in on them. And just really, it's a lot of ground to make up with not a lot of help.
Yeah, and it's also going to be very close for these guys. Can they stretch it? I mean, we did get a couple extra laps under caution there as we tried to sort out the field, so they were able to save a little bit of fuel then, but we heard it's 85 to 95 laps on a green flag run, and we saw Scott Austin make it 98 with a single caution in the way there. So it's going to be hard for these guys that have stayed out or that are still out right now to make it to the end. We've seen a number of drivers already come down for their second pit stop. Essentially, the leader of that group would be Dustin Shepard, who has come down. I think actually Matt Allen as well, but he came down on lap 105, so it might be difficult for him to make it as well.
I think it could be here, and I think right now Ryan Johnson sitting there. I think the top 4 cars might be able to stretch it based on that extended yellow flag, but it's going to be very tight and very close to see. Here is well, we don't really know for sure. We're just doing speculation here, but the 91 of Gable out front over Ryan Johnson, Bryan Hacker, third Scott Austin. Those are the 4 cars on the lead lap. If the yellow were to fly this man, the 74 of Matt Allen, running in spot number 5, is the only car 1 lap down currently as they work around the racetrack, and Allen working down the backstretch. And one of those drivers, Kelly, that we haven't really got to talk a lot about this season, but running a good solid race here, and the driver out of Dolgeville, New York, and that's just about an hour and a half from where the Turn 3 Racing Network studio is here tonight.
Adam Gable down on pit road, so he is not able to stretch it. Lap 161 is as far as he's going to go. He's going to come down pit road, take a full tank, and maybe take some right side tires as well. We'll have to see. I think that is the right side of the car up in the air. So Bryan Johnson now taking over the race lead. Bryan Hacker coming down as well. So things still getting shaken up here tonight. We I don't think we're going to know who's going to be winning this race until, I think, the last 5 minutes of this thing.
I think once the checkered flag comes out.
I think so. It's going to be tough to call. There's so many different strategies that are happening right now. Everything has been mixed up by that caution flag that came out. We have no idea, basically, who's running where in relation to all these different strategies. As Ryan Johnson, one of the 2 cars on the lead lap, as Scott Austin is barely on the lead lap, only 15 seconds down from Ryan Johnson, so essentially a couple seconds up the racetrack. Both these drivers pit very similar times on that last caution. Austin came down right before the caution on lap 98. Johnson on lap 102 during the caution, and I don't think either of these guys are going to be able to make it to the end.
No, I was just thinking that, and we don't know how much fuel did they get into the race cars during those yellow flags, trying to, limit the time on pit road and trying to stay, I guess, competitive. Is that the right word, Kelly? On the racetrack where you're not trapped down these multiple laps. You see 2 cars on the lead lap right now. Allen now into third. 1 lap down as Bryan Hacker has lost another lap to the race leader, but he is right there in front, trying to close in on him as we go on board with Bryan Hacker. So he's trying to close back in on the lead lap, or at least get 1 lap down in case that yellow flag were to come.
Yeah, and Hacker managed to get around Gable during that pit stop, so Hacker may have elected to not take tires and only take fuel, or maybe just managed to take less fuel, but he is catching up to Ryan Johnson. He might be able to put himself just 1 lap back, which is essentially what he needs to do, because if a caution were to fly now, I'm fairly certain that Johnson would come down pit road, which would then allow both Matthew Allen and Hacker to get the free pass, essentially, since they would stay out on the racetrack. So I think Hacker is going to be pushing hard to get around him. I don't know if Hacker took tires. I'd have to go take a look and check.
I believe at least right sides, Kelly, just basing on the time spent on pit road. It's a difference of 16 seconds between himself and Gable. So Gable was on pit road for just a little less than 51 seconds, and Hacker 34 seconds on the pit road. So about 12 seconds, 15 seconds difference of actual pit time on pit road is the separation between himself and Gable. As Bryan was able to get around the number 38 of Ryan Johnson, now he's going on the attack, trying to close in on the 74. So he works around the number 10 across your race leader, though. Your current high points man Ryan Johnson in that Wisco number 38. And he always seems to be up front here in these races, Kelly, playing the right strategy call. And Scott Austin still runs in second spot. He is about half a straightaway in front of Ryan Johnson.
So I did go back and check. Both Hacker and Gable took right side tires. However, because Hacker had pit more recently, he did not have to put as much fuel in the car. He was able to quickly fuel that thing up, get himself back out onto the racetrack ahead of a lot of these other drivers that had to stay there a lot longer in order to fuel up entirely to make it to the end. So it has worked out for Hacker. He is essentially the leader of these 2-3 stop cars that have already made what should be their final stop of the night. So I think this is starting to work into Bryan Hacker's favor, because I believe the top 3 cars are still going to have to make 1 more stop.
As Gable now trying to put some pressure on the 38 of Ryan Johnson. He'll work the outside of the racetrack to do so. So that'll put the number 91 just 1 lap down as well once he completes the pass here on the 38 of Ryan Johnson. And Kelly, you know, it's one of those things we don't know. With a 15-second lead that Johnson has, he's still running lap times of 18.7s and 18.8s. You can back it down because your closest driver that's only 15 seconds back of you is running 18.9s. I'm sure the crew is talking to him, letting them know, but with 22 laps to go, if you are close, you can back it up a little bit, clutch it a little bit, let the car roll a little bit longer before getting back in that gas. Is your competition is right out your front windshield currently.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson could definitely try to pull a Scott Dixon and just make that fuel last forever. He has got a huge gap over Scott Austin, as you mentioned, but Austin also will have to pit. He pit on lap 98, so it would be even harder for the 5 of Austin to be able to stretch it all the way to the end. And then the next car would be Bryan Hacker, who is still a lap down after he just got around the 74 of Matthew Allen. So Johnson really can just take it easy here, lay back, and try to stretch the fuel. We're going to have to see if that is going to be what he's able to do here, as we've got 20 laps to go, coming down to 19 as he crosses the start-finish line. So keep an eye on that red 38. Is he going to make it last?
Yeah, we're not really sure as he's watched the 89 of Shepard get on by the 38 cars. He rolls off a turn number 4. Allen in the 74 coming down pit road, Kelly. So interesting there that Allen now on pit road. Everyone but your 2 race leaders have come down at least within the last 20 to 30 laps.
Yeah, pretty much everyone else has taken their final stop of the night. We'll have to see. We're still going to have to see is Johnson and Austin can make it last. Johnson is definitely a maybe. He did have a bit of a longer caution period after the his pit stop. I don't exactly remember when we went green flag racing. Once again, I'll have to look at the lap chart, but it is definitely a possibility that Johnson can make the fuel last, but he is going to have to save, and if he hasn't been already, he's going to have to start now.
Yeah, and I believe Austin is in that fuel save mode. Last time by a 19.4. Now it picks up to an 18.6. Johnson an 18.7. The drivers that they're all chasing, trying to get back on the lead lap, Hacker and Gable, are in the 18.2. So at least a half-second difference between those 2 drivers. You see that on here as we look at what Ryan Johnson has. Is 14 more circuits, Kelly. 7 more miles. Does he have it in the fuel tank?
Lap 109 is when we went green flag racing, I believe. So I think it is definitely possible for Johnson to make this work. It is going to be close. It's going to be tight. He may be on fumes when he crosses the line, but I think it is a possibility that he can make that fuel last until the end of this race. Bryan Hacker, on the other hand, he is hoping that he is going to run out and be forced to come down pit road. Hacker basically just has to put the pedal to the metal, try to get some pressure on Johnson, but with a full lap lead and then some, I think he's still half a lap ahead, essentially, before he gets back on the lead lap. I think Johnson can just cruise at this point. He basically can just lift off early into these corners, clutch that car, and make that fuel last. And if we do get a caution with 10 laps to go here, basically we'll secure it for Johnson.
And we're on board with the 38 of Ryan Johnson, and about halfway down the back straightaway, Kelly, he is clutching it and easing back into it. So he is in full-on save mode. And I think that's harder as a race car driver, to try to do that saving of the fuel, right, as you're racing your 9 laps to go. Is he going to have enough to do so? He's got some time to be able to give up, as now Huntoon will get by. That'll put Huntoon 2 laps down here. In 16 seconds back to Scott Austin. So he's just got to make it 8 more laps right here at the line. Does he save enough fuel to do so?
Yeah, he is clutching a lot. I mean, you could hear it when we were on that onboard with him. He's basically on the clutch until he's exiting the corner, and then he's getting back on the clutch before even entering. So I think he's spending more than half the lap with that clutch pedal pushed in. So Johnson in a very heavy fuel save, just 7 laps to go. Can he make it work and hang on to his championship lead? Or essentially still a provisional championship lead, as after tonight the drop weeks will take effect. But I believe the race admins or the race control has said that he does have the highest average finishing position at the moment, so I think he will still be in the race or in the championship lead after the drop weeks take effect and we factor those in. But we'll see if Scott Austin can maybe open that gap over Bryan Hacker just a little bit more in the championship standings.
Yeah, it's be interesting to see. And you got to believe Scott Austin is doing the same thing right now, as the gap has not really closed with 5 laps to go. I think Johnson's going to do it, Kelly. I think he can do 4 more laps. Oh,
I think he's going to try to do it or die trying, because he is still out there and he is not going to come down pit road. If he does, he's essentially giving up this race lead. If he has to coast that final lap, essentially, I think he'll do so, because he, as mentioned, has got essentially a full lap ahead of the second place. 3 laps to go, and he is still out there.
Yeah, 3 laps to go. I think he's committed at this point. Did he save enough by clutching? That is going to be the question. Can he have enough speed to coast around if the car were to run out? 2 to go right there. Popsicle sticks are up here for the ZooFab Garage's Golf Coast Showdown here tonight at the Five Flags Speedway. And he's wiggling that car a little bit, Kelly.
Yeah, but it still sounds like he's got power. He only needs to get around one more time. Just a little bit under a mile to go for Ryan Johnson. He's still on the clutch going into the corners. Is he going to have enough fuel? I think he's going to make it. He's at least going to have enough to coast to the line at this point. And he's got such a big lead. I think he's got it. One last time around turn 3 and 4. Ryan Johnson makes the fuel save work, and he is going to win here tonight.
Scott Austin will roll down the back stretch here, trying to hold on to second place. I believe he's got that in the bag as well. And so Scott Austin gonna come home second. Bryan Hacker's third. Adam Gable and Dustin Shepard rounding out your top 5. And well, that was just interesting. That's the only way to describe that, Kelly. What a great race. Is I believe the 38 is out of gas, as we will not see a burnout.
No, I think he's out. I think he coasted back to the start-finish line in order to get ready for the photo op. Oh, no, he's got a little bit left, but he was clutch entirely, and now I think that engine is off, so Johnson was on fumes coming across the line.
And they are pulling down here on the front stretch. As Scott Austin will park the 5 car in the number 2. So Bryan Hacker going to just give up a few points here tonight, Kelly. Not bad, considering all the strategy. And, well, a little bit of a burnout by Ryan Johnson. He's got enough to go in reverse around the racetrack.
Okay, now he's just showing off. He's showing off how much fuel he was able to save. Because now he is, as you mentioned, coasting backwards around the track. I don't know if he's on the throttle at all. He actually is clutch, so... But the engine's running, and yeah, he's still got some fuel left.
That is impressive, honestly. As we get ready to go into our post-race show, we will take a quick moment. We'll step away, but we'll be right back here on the Turn 3 Racing Network, and we will talk to tonight's podium finishers. As we are back here to the Five Flags Speedway with tonight's post-race show, as we are down trackside in our ZooFab Garage victory lane. And, well, we are going to catch up. I believe, Kelly, you have Ryan Johnson in victory lane.
Yeah, caught up now with our race winner. And Ryan, I think the question that is on everyone's mind, how much fuel did you have left crossing the line? I mean, you showed off that you could do another lap backwards and a quick burnout, but what was it reading when you caught the checkered flag?
Yeah, that entire last 50 laps, I was clutching. I knew it was going to be close, but I had quite a bit of a gap. With everyone having to pit again, I was just kind of watching the gap with me and Scott, and I crossed the line with 0.2 of a gallon left.
Well, when that last caution came out, it threw everything for a loop. Did you kind of have any idea how the rest of this race was going to play out at that moment?
Oh no, I had no clue. And iRacing hadn't updated, so when I pit with Hacker on that last stop there, I thought I was a lap down still, so I wasn't going to get the wave around. And I'm like, man, we're really in trouble if this goes green. But lo and behold, we came out. I came out behind Gable, and he was second, and we were on the same lap. And I'm like, man, I'm really confused. And then once we started running, I'm like, I'm just going to take my time, try and save a little bit. And yeah, it got down to crunch time with like 50 to go. And I'm like, man, I got to save like 4 laps of fuel. And yeah, I don't know how I did it, but I did.
All right, well, I believe after the drop weeks take effect, you will still be in the championship lead. I mean, what is your focus for the back half of the season?
Just try to stay clean and get some decent finishes. Consistency wins championships, and I mean, a lot of people in this league have proven that. So, especially Dante, who's not able to run with us anymore. I mean, Hacker's always quick. Scott was really quick tonight. There are a bunch of guys that gonna have to be on top of my game still for, but just try to be consistent and clean. I mean, that's all we ever try to do. So.
All right, well, I think you're familiar with how things work here with us here tonight. We're going to give you the floor and allow you to thank whoever you would like to thank for your race here tonight.
Yeah, I just got to thank all the admins here at NSRL, giving us a great place to race. You guys for broadcasting, my team After Dark, DCD for my paint, and all the drivers for a really good, clean race tonight. My family, friends, everybody tuning in, girlfriend allowing me to do this stuff, and yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming and talking to us, Ryan. Hopefully we'll hear from you next week.
Appreciate it, buddy.
All right, that is Ryan Johnson, our winner here tonight at the Gulf Coast Showdown. And after 200 laps, he does take the checkered flag with just running on fumes. But now I think we're going to send it back to Al, who is caught up with our second place finisher tonight.
I have caught up with the driver of the number 5 of Scott Austin. And Scott down here is looking over the fuel numbers, and you're able to stretch it there, Scott. One stop for that yellow flag coming in, probably at an impromptu time for you as you had just come down pit road. Did you think your night was done at that point?
Yeah, I knew I had to save. I'll be the first to tell you I don't enjoy having to pit for fuel in a street. Again, and thought we could do the same, so just went for it.
Yeah, you taking the street stock here. The 200 laps of a long distance here. You're able to come home with that second place finish, and we were pretty amazed you were able to stretch. I know that first yellow flag coming out early, that probably let you go a little bit longer. When that yellow flag came out so quick, did you plan on just doing a one-stop race at that point? Seems like we have lost communication.
But when that second caution came out,
yeah, you're cutting out on us, Scott. We missed what you started off there with, bud. Well, Kelly, we'll see if we can get Scott Austin's communications back. Looked like he dropped out, so we'll slide it down. Oh, there's Scott. See if he's back with us.
I don't think he is.
All right. Well, you've caught up. We'll come back to Scott if we can get his mics figured out. We'll slide into the driver that came in tonight. Going to come out on a podium with a good finish, Kelly. You've caught up with the number 2 of Bryan Hacker.
Yeah, catching up now with Bryan Hacker, our third place finisher tonight. And Bryan, you didn't quite have the best qualifying run, but you had to make your way through the field. I mean, what was it like here tonight, kind of battling out with these other cars?
Yeah, I stepped on my, you know what, in qualifying, got loose off of 4 and ruined both laps, which is pretty neat. So I forget where we started, like 10th or 12th or something. It wasn't, I think it was 12th. It wasn't that
12th.
bad. Yeah. And I don't know, Scott and I have kind of found a strategy here that seems to work for us. And we were able to pick some guys off and get to the front, and then pit strategy and fuel strategy came into play, and I'm not so good.
Well, that caution definitely threw a wrench in the plans, I'm sure, but now you're still going to be in the hunt for the championship, I believe, with Ryan Johnson, even after we factor in our drop weeks. But we're going to be moving on to the back half of the field. Moving on to the bull ring next. What are you expecting out of that track?
Yeah, 125 laps at the bull ring. We should be fine on fuel, which is great for me, because the last time we ran a short track without pitting, I believe that was my win. So I'm looking forward to getting back to that style of racing these last couple weeks where you got to pit. Really throws a wrench in things, and I don't run enough of NASCAR stuff to know what I'm doing. I don't have an outside application to tell me what to do. So Scott and I just kind of, we're like two chimpanzees throwing shit ideas back and forth at each other here in Discord.
Well, it's definitely working out for you so far. But you've gotten yourself, both of you are basically in the hunt for the championship. But what do you think it's going to take down Ryan Johnson?
It's gonna be tough. He's good at this style of racing. So, when we have a good night like this where we finish third, he capitalizes and gets a win and gets extra bonus points. And you just you can't have bad nights, and you can't even have decent nights. You really gotta come with it every single week to get after a guy like him. And it's no different when Dante's around. It's just when Dante's here, there's two guys like that. So with Dante missing the rest of the season, it's certainly unfortunate. It gives us a chance, but Ryan is probably the odds-on favorite right now for sure.
Well, Bryan, you're very familiar with how we work here, so we're going to give you the floor and allow you to thank whoever you need to thank here tonight.
Yeah, Scott Austin Designs, great run for him. We were kind of going back and forth on strategy. He stuck with the stay out strategy, and I decided to go with the balls out strategy. So it worked out one spot better for him, which is great. Good night for both of us. Aberdeen Lodge, Carbon Junction, Boulder Beer Bar, everybody at the league that does this, except for the guys that wanted to put 40% fuel in it, they can go fly a kite. And you guys for broadcasting these.
All right, well, thanks for coming out and talking to us, Bryan. Hopefully we'll hear from you next week at the bull ring.
Thanks, guys.
And as Bryan Hacker, our third place finisher here tonight. And I'm going to send it back to Al for a few closing thoughts.
Yeah, I think we got Scott Austin back with us, so we'll check in with Scott, just give him his due here with a great run for a number 2 spot. And Scott, you got a copy with us.
I do. I got you guys. Sorry about that. I was having some technical difficulties.
Yeah, I got you now. Well, you're able to stretch that fuel. We just talked to Bryan, and you guys are working together. Obviously, that's no secret around these parts of the North-South Racing League, and able to come home with a second place finish in a style that doesn't really match up to what you guys do on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, I think we're short trackers at heart, but this one worked out for us, so it's not all bad. Like I was saying before, I watched the NASCAR race this weekend and just tried to do my best Logano, and it worked out for us this time.
Well, you're going to come home in that number 2 spot, right there behind the guy you're chasing for that championship. As we head now to the back half of the field, we're going to kick it off next week at the Bull Ring at Las Vegas. 125 laps, and the fuel load should, I'm assuming, get you there, and we go back to some short track racing. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, very much so. I think the amount of gallons we got in the car will take us to the end. If not, just one quick caution or a little bit of saving will take us there. So it should just be a straight up race to the end.
Well, you did a great job here tonight saving there. How close was it for you when you crossed the line there? We know you came down on lap 98.
Yeah, it is estimated about 3/4 of a lap left, so I ran out during that victory lane photo, so it was close.
Very close, but sir, you did a great job. It's always a pleasure talking to you. I know we talked to you a little bit earlier here when you were unloading the car, saying, well, maybe we'll talk to you on the podium here tonight. And you said, well, that'd be nice, and well, we were able to make that happen here. We always like talking with you. We'll roll out the red carpet. Let's thank those that you need to thank as we get ready to move on to the bull ring in 1 week's time.
Yeah, absolutely. Just again, thanks to you guys. Like I say every week, this is a lot of fun to race every Monday, but it's also a lot of fun to go back and watch it. So thanks to you guys. Thanks to the leagues and the admins for keeping the whole thing together. Like I say, I really do enjoy it and look forward to it every week.
Well, congratulations, Scott. Thanks you for your time, and glad we could get you back up here where you get your moment in the spotlight. We thank you for your time, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good night, guys.
There you go. That was your ZooFab Garage post-race show, Kelly, as we look at the results up on the screen. And I will say the race went really well from what I came in. I wasn't really sure what to expect. I knew the strategy was going to come into play. Didn't quite know it was going to come into that much play where Ryan Johnson able to use that caution and the field being jumbled up to his advantage to pick up the win here tonight.
Yeah, it was definitely a mix-up here as we had that caution about the halfway point of this race. And as we've mentioned, we had no idea who was going to win until it really came down to it. But Ryan Johnson just making that fuel last and stretching it out. He was just barely able to make it, as mentioned, just about ran out of fuel. But that kind of sets us up for the back half of the season. Just 5 races left to go. Actually, no, I think 6 races left to go. I'm sorry. Doing my math a little bit wrong. And we are going to see a lot of tight racing here. We're going to get the drop weeks factored into the points. We're going to know where everyone is going to stand here towards these last few races. And I think we're in for a good fight for the championship.
Yeah, there's 3 more weeks before a 2-week layoff is October 28th, next Thursday or next Monday night. We'll be at the Bull Ring. Then we followed up with South Boston and Myrtle Beach, 3 of what I consider to be my favorite racetracks. I guess the real unknown will be the day after my birthday. That'll be at Slinger on December 2nd. So that's the next 4 races coming up here for the ZooFab Garage Street Stock Series. And Kelly, as always, thank you for coming along for the ride. It's been a pleasure so far this season. Really looking forward to the back half of this one. See if Ryan Johnson going to have to start back of the pack next week at the Bull Ring. And that's going to be a tough order there, as the Bull Ring, one of those tracks really hard to pass at.
Yeah, it definitely lives up to its name. It is a bull ring. It is a tight, short track, and it's going to be hard to pass. And basically tonight was one of the easier tracks to pass at in this whole series. So I think next week we're going to see the elbows come out. The tempers may be flaring a little bit, but I think we are going to be definitely in for an exciting race either way.
I think so, and as always, we want to thank you, the viewers, for watching here tonight. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Let these drivers know that you appreciate the efforts that they put in to put on a great show each and every week. We are just 2 lucky guys that get to show you the pictures and talk about it, and we can't wait for next week at the Bull Ring. But for Kelly, I am Upstate Al. It's been a pleasure bringing you tonight's racing action here of the Golf Coast Showdown for the North-South Racing League ZooFab Garage Street Stock Series. But until next Monday night, keep it wheels down, and we'll see you in turn 3. Good night, everybody.